Chapter 196 of My Hero Academia was quite interesting in my opinion, although it's not really a chapter that I would say was really at the top. Like, it's not really a top tier chapter compared to, like, say, last chapter, or the one before it, or the one before that. I think we've had some better chapters prior to this one, but at the same time, this one did build up to something that could be absolutely phenomenal. So I think it would be a very bad idea if I were to just totally ignore this chapter's value, because although not much happened within this chapter itself, we really got this feeling that we're gonna get a pretty interesting fight coming up, but also we're gonna seemingly get something even better, which is that we will be seeing more from some of the Class 1B students that maybe some people are very interested in. Me personally, I do really like this, seeing as we are seemingly gonna get more time with Ibara, and actually Ibara is one of my, I wouldn't say favorite characters in 1B, simply because we haven't really seen her do enough stuff to actually be able to consider her one of the favorites yet. But based around what we're seeing right now is that we're gonna get to see a lot more of Ibara next chapter probably, and that is something that I'm looking forward to a lot, because her personality, as most people would probably be able to see, is that it really feels as if she has a very religious belief. Whether that's Christian or not, I don't know, but it is some kind of belief that certainly reminds me of Christianity in the way that, you know, she keeps bringing up sinning and all of these kind of things, impurities, and, you know, just the way she dresses. She kind of dresses, I guess, in a way like a maiden, which is also very interesting, but her personality itself is not really what defines her, I think. I think the fact that we know she's really strong. In fact, Ibara was supposed to be in Class 1A, but they scrapped that idea at some point before Class 1B and Class 1A were actually introduced, I suppose. But the fact that we're gonna see Tsuyu fight Ibara is something that also I think a lot of people will be interested in, because I know, you know, Tsuyu is a very popular character within the community of My Hero Academia, even if I personally don't fancy her a lot. You know, I think a lot of people are gonna be satisfied just for the fact that we're seeing Tsuyu fight. In terms of Ibara, I really hope we get to see more of her, both as a character, but also to see her use her quirk more creatively and, you know, more extensively, because in the sports festival we didn't really get to see Ibara use her quirk a lot, because she defeated Kaminari almost instantly, which didn't really give us enough to really judge, you know, how good is this quirk, you know, what is the extent of it, you know, exactly what is she capable of doing, what are the limits, the drawbacks, and all of that. I hope we get to find that out in the next couple of chapters, and honestly I do think we will, because Horikoshi seemingly likes to really bring out a character when it is time for that character to shine, and at that point he wants to explain the quirk more thoroughly. So I do hope that's what it is building up to, among other things, of course. Now, one thing that's really interesting about Tsuyu as well, and this is something that I've seen a lot of people having some thoughts on, which is at the end of the chapter when we saw Tsuyu actually splitting up into what seemingly seems like 3 Tsuyus. Now, some people are saying this is an actual cloning ability, others are saying that these other 2 Tsuyus are actually Kaminari and Shinso, and that for some reason the Beast Boy is recognizing their presence as Tsuyu. So he thinks that, of course, 3 Tsuyus are actually charging towards them, but it could simply be that there are 3 different people and 2 of them have somehow been able to mask their own presence and convert it into what seems like Tsuyu's presence. It may simply be because of what we saw from Tsuyu in one of the panels when she was really sticky or gooey, you know, on the arm, which might be something to do with that, you know, but it doesn't have to be. It could simply be that Tsuyu has in fact cloned herself. But they didn't mention the other 2 characters, Shinso and Kaminari, which is why I'm kind of thinking that these are in fact Kaminari and Shinso, because otherwise he would be able to determine, you know, where are these 2 characters, and we did see Kaminari moving in, so it wouldn't really make much sense if he just totally ignored the fact that Kaminari is charging towards them as well. But overall, this chapter really seemed like something quite interesting to me, even though it wasn't really way up there, you know. It was quite the average chapter in my opinion, not really a bad chapter at all. I did not find this to be a bad chapter in any way. I just didn't really think that any of the panels or any of the particular moments in this chapter alone was really that that ahead of the game, if you know what I mean. The last thing that I'm going to be talking about in this review is actually something that's quite interesting in my opinion. Maybe you didn't really pick up on this, or maybe you don't care really too much about this kind of stuff, but it's how they handled Kirishima and how they seemingly placed Kaminari and Ibara in the same match again. So this is something that I've noticed that, you know, some mangakas do. It's not necessarily unique to Horikoshi, but Horikoshi does this, and he's done it again, where he is filtering out what seems like the powerhouse out of their group, which at the moment was Kirishima. Like, Kirishima probably could have handled someone strong in this group, but the fact is, of course, that they probably want characters that haven't had as much screen time, even from Class 1A, to really get more of a shining moment, and Kaminari likely will in this fight, and I think Tsuyu as well. Shinso naturally will, because this arc it definitely has a kind of focus on him because he's trying to convert into the hero course, but the one I could see lagging a little bit behind is Koda, simply because he isn't really someone that you would expect to get a massive amount of screen time or focus in a match like this, especially since he doesn't really have any special interactions like a rivalry or anything like that with anyone that is on the other end of the spectrum in Class 1B. So I think honestly Koda might be the odd one out here, where he's not really gonna be as significant in this match, but you know, he has to be in a team, so I guess that's what they decided to do with it. If you're a Koda fan, I'm not really hating on this character or anything, I'm just saying that this is probably not gonna be his time to shine. It's probably gonna happen at some other time, but I could be entirely wrong. Now, what I mean by Kaminari and Ibara is of course the fact that they were fighting in the sports festival, and I think this may be a time where we're gonna get to see Kaminari really have to rise above this challenge and really have to step it up, you know, find a way to defeat Ibara. Last match they had, he was actually defeated very quickly, and I think he's gonna have to find a way to avoid the same fate once again, because while Ibara is waiting for 3 Tsuyus, she's probably going to find that Kaminari is gonna be one of those, assuming that is the case, which I think it is. And Denki or Kaminari, he definitely wants to become better, you know, most people do, especially when you're in Class 1A, where, you know, you have this small group of people that's way ahead in the class, and Kaminari isn't one of them. He probably wants to catch up to some people, and a good way to display a character's progression is by having him defeat someone he previously couldn't defeat. Granted, he wasn't really trying that hard last time, but that doesn't change the fact that he has to find a way to do it, you know, because he overcharged himself during the sports festival, as we saw. You know, he got stupid, as we like to call it. You know, his facial expression got into his retard mode, as I like to call it, and I want to see a different outcome. I want Kaminari to be the one to really have the final number on Ibara because of this, unless this match is setting up for Class 1B to win, of course, which honestly, I wouldn't be too surprised if that happens, but at the same time, I feel like Shinso has to win at least one of his matches, but whether that's gonna be in his 1A match or 1B match, I guess we're gonna have to wait and see. But I also think that Shinso should have to suffer a defeat as well. I don't think he should be on 2 winning ends. I don't really think that would be the best for him. I mean, for the others, it doesn't really matter because Shinso is the only one on 2 different teams, and it would just make a lot of sense to have him win once and lose once. And I think this one could end up them losing, but at the same time, will it? I don't know. I think right now Class 1A is going to win, and I think Shinso is going to be on the losing end when he's playing for Class 1B. I believe that would be the best way to go about it, because although we have another sort of iconic rematch in that match, you know, we have Deku and Shinso being on different ends, I still think Shinso's gonna lose again. I just think the match will be a lot different from when it was back then, when both of them were a lot less trained as heroes. Anyway, that's really all I had to say in this review. I hope you liked it. I hope you liked this chapter as well, and maybe you had a different opinion on this chapter than I did. Like I said, I didn't really find this chapter to be like way up there, but at the same time, it was still a very decent chapter. You know, I enjoyed it for what it was, like I always do. So yeah, I'd love to know what you think down below in the comments. Then as always, if you did, be sure to Detroit smash that like button if you enjoyed, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. This has been Chaotic Plus, and remember everybody, Toga is waifu, Toga is laifu.